Good evening once again. Hello and welcome to another episode of Caribbean Feedback. Why is Sam moving in slow motion back there?
I'm moving in slow motion. You're seeing me
Yeah.
in good,
On my computer, you're moving in. I don't know what kind of robot dance
going on.
Yeah. All right, you're back. You're back to normal movements now, but you had a little kind of robotic vibe going on. How everybody doing this evening?
I'm well. How are you?
I am blessed. I am blessed.
You're blessed and highly favored.
Yes, I had a rather productive day today, and I like that.
That sounds very good. That sounds very, very good.
As you all may well notice, we have a slim panel this evening. But this is where we started. This is where we started. 1, 2, 3, with the exception of Mr. Sounder. We started at 4. Yeah,
Mr. Sounder. Yeah.
Good evening, Angela Mott. Hello. Thank you so much for joining us. Dr. Judith has some very important tasks to accomplish this evening for an early start in the morning. So she won't be gracing our presence this evening. So don't cry no tears. Where's with the eating, boss? Well, I know it's a virtual thing, but you see when you come on the show and you sit down and eat by yourself and you cannot share, that ain't cool.
The less people we have, the more food for I.
The more food you consume.
Yes, less people.
But the point is, I'm saying you cannot share. You cannot share it virtually.
Hi,
so you're just going to sit there and eat by yourself. Good night, Lucy. Good night, Trini girl. Good night, Trini girl. Yeah. Welcome to the show. Thank you so much for joining us. Lucy O'Brien.
That's
How things are going down there in that beautiful country that I'm missing.
Yes, the sunshine is nice. I hear the place opening up nice and thing. You know, all we had to do is just go give a little thing and start that we could travel.
Okay, so did they end the state of emergency?
I don't know. That Lucy and them got to tell us what happened there. All right.
So people want to know what it is Sam is concealing.
What am I eating? Well, tonight I have figs. You see, figs.
Not fig like right fig from home. This is the true.
No, don't kind. Yeah, fig.
Okay.
And dates. Yeah. And then once in a while I'll sip my kafu. And right now I have some little noodle vibes going on here.
Enough things are going in, man.
Yeah, just to keep things level.
That is more than a snack, bro. You seem to be having dinner at our expense while we sitting here, and I don't even have a bottle of water sitting handy to drink.
To get up, when God.
May I tell all you not to go and get all your business?
No, but I'm saying if you have to get up, it's because of all of that roughage you're eating.
Yeah, man. Yeah, we had to keep it in the level.
Good evening, Mr. Anthony Brown, joining us from Philadelphia.
That's what's up.
This evening. Good evening. Thank you so much for joining us. And Lucy is saying tomorrow, I take it that the state of emergency will be ending tomorrow in Trinidad. I do believe that is what she's answering. Trini girl saying wow in reference to the dinner you're having over there. That
7-course dinner too.
Yeah, that 7-course meal that you're having there. Long time, everyone. Look well, nice to see you. Thank you so much, Mr. Brown.
That's right. Mr.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So this evening we at 4:45 already into the show.
Yeah,
we just gonna get things going, and we'd like for you all, the people in the chat, join the conversation. Let us hear your thoughts on the matter. And as usual, if you're not subscribed, make sure you go to YouTube, subscribe to the channel, hit that subscribe button, smash it, give us a thumbs up, leave some comments on the program. It is vitally important towards the success of the show that you all partake. Hitting this on the channel helps a lot. It works with the algorithms. I don't know what an algorithm is up to now, but I've been talking about it. It helps the algorithms. So go on there, hit that thumbs up, leave us a comment, Let's know your thoughts. And let's take you into another beautiful episode. Mr. Archer, run the
Yes,
thing.
sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We're going to run it right now.
My name is Karin Forrester. I represent BantuKreations. BantuKreations offers beautifully made, African-inspired, lightweight, handcrafted, one-of-a-kind earrings in wonderful shapes, shades, sizes, and colors. Please don't be scared of the large sizes. They're extremely lightweight earrings. BantuKreations can be found on IG and on Facebook as BantuKreations. That's BantuKreations with a K.
Come check me out, chriskeys.com. I'm worldwide.
Tony Altamirano.
Hi, I'm Gina.
What's up, everybody? I'm Win Vu, award-winning remixer.
Koya, I'm an artist.
Hi, my name's Justina Bethel.
Hi, I'm Mike Bowen from Denton, Texas.
How you doing? This is Tom Cup from Music by Tom Cups. Check out Samuel E. Archer's book, Hybrid Executive. We are in the business, and here's how you can be a better business person because you're running your business.
You can find my music at JustinaBeth_EL on Instagram or JustinaBethel.com, and I am a hybrid executive.
I'm a hybrid executive.
I'm a hybrid executive, just like you.
Follow me at Koya Music, and I'm also a hybrid executive.
I'm worldwide, baby, but just know I'm a hybrid executive. That's all you need to know, baby.
Get on up, B.
Check out my music, MikeBowen.com. I'm a hybrid executive.
I'm a hybrid executive.
Yes, and we are back. This evening, ladies and gentlemen, we're not here to complain. We're not here to cry. We're here to inform. We're here to come up with some solutions today. Solutions. I often say it's nice for us to sit back and talk about all the things that are plaguing us, what it is we're not doing right as individuals, what it is we're not doing right as a people. But how about some solutions?
We have a lot
this
of
evening
solutions
we want to talk about planning your work. And not just planning it, but working your plan. Plan your work, work your plan. How many of you here are familiar with the name Tony Robbins? How about Zig Ziglar? Eric Thomas? Inky Johnson? Or how about the master motivator himself, Mr. Les Brown? I'm pretty sure that, like me, many of you listening right now have heard about at least one of them and listen to them at least once in your lifetime. These aforementioned names are all motivational speakers who impart some how can I put it, some serious game when it comes to your mindset, when it comes to plans and schemes and hopes and dreams. Some of them have even laid out roadmaps to success, where anyone who is trying to get on the right track towards success simply have to follow. Just follow their well-orchestrated steps that can lead you towards a more fulfilling life. Now, here's the million-dollar question. This being so, why aren't there millions of millionaires walking around? Or should I say driving around or flying around? Is something innately wrong with the advice that they are giving? Or is something fundamentally wrong with us as a people receiving the message? Or is there something wrong with the way we choose to use or not to use the information? Mm-hmm. Personally, I encourage reading motivational books and having the knowledge and but you see, having that knowledge and not executing it is a total waste of time. Scrolling through social media, reading inspirational quotes and listening to heartwarming stories is a colossal waste of time if you do not execute. People, listen to me. You cannot become healthy by simply reading a good book about nutrition. You cannot become a good surgeon by binge watching episodes of House or Chicago Med or ER or any of these other medical shows. Far too many of us just walking around acting like we're rich to impress other people, keeping up with the Joneses, when in fact many of us need to put ourselves on a budget. Not just a financial budget, but a time budget as well. An accessibility budget where it's harder to get to you. You know what I'm saying, Sam? This way some people don't have as much access to your valuable time. Now, mind you, some people are going to be mad at you, you know. But let me tell you something. Let them be mad. Because once you begin doing what is best for you, you're going to start losing some of these people you refer to as friends.
And family.
Oh yeah, them too. Panelists, please enlighten us as to how we can become more productive with our time, thus enriching our lives and the lives of our children and those closest to us in the process.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. We Karin, you want to go first, or you?
I can. For me, this topic is really important because I remember when I was starting to think about nursing, which was around high school, and got more serious by the time I graduated high school. I was really focused, and I had a lot of family members who were nurses. My mom, lots of cousins, but no one, and I mean no one, including my mom, ever gave me any advice or any suggestions as to how to go about it, what to do first, what to do second. You know, they just didn't give it. And it's really not that I'm putting any blame on anyone. It's just that's how it was. That's just a fact. So I wanted to make a difference, and I have tried with quite a few young women that expressed an interest to me directly that they wanted to go into nursing. I tried to be as supportive as possible. And I think this hits me a bit differently because since the pandemic, I know for a fact that most of the nurses that survived, and I say survived, the last 2 years are burned the hell out. They're losing nurses who were planning on retiring, are retiring earlier than usual. And those that weren't even thinking of leaving the industry so quickly are leaving it. So in another 10, 15 years, they're already seeing shortages, extreme shortages in certain areas. So this is a viable area to enter into. And my suggestion to a lot of these young women and men, let me not be too sexist here, who want to enter the field is trust yourself. Figure out, I'm just basically dealing with people who are here in the US because that's the system I'm most comfortable with. Make sure you find a school there are different levels of accreditation. And that means a school is certified as meeting at the very least the minimum standards for, in this country. But there is regional accreditation, and that is even better. Find a school that is regionally accredited, meaning not only do they meet minimum basic standards by the U.S. Department of Education, they also, because they meet those standards, their credits can be transferred across the country and outside the country. Okay. And there are so many scholarship programs available. You can get a scholarship because you're Trini, or because you're Jamaican, or because you're Black, or because you're a female, or because you work for a particular type of industry. Their scholarships are out there. What is most important is to make certain you know the scholarship deadlines, and every scholarship has a deadline for application. Do the research. find out when the deadlines are, what the minimum requirements are, and make sure if they require you to submit an essay, and the essay is never anything really complicated, submit that essay on time. You'll be amazed at how many scholarships you can get. It's amazing, but you have to be willing to do the work. And a lot of people, they hope and they pray and they want, but you've got to do the work. And part of the work is investing in yourself and making certain that you apply for as many scholarships as possible. Sam, I've asked Sam to put up the information on the scholarships toward the end of the show, if possible, so that anyone who's interested can get it. There are also grants, which means money that you can apply for that you certainly don't have to pay back. It's like free money. Another thing that people never think about is if you decide to get a job at a hospital as, let's say, housekeeping department, nurse's aide, anything like that. Most hospitals here in the States will pay for you to go on to higher education and may even reimburse you at 100%, which a lot of people don't know. They think they have to start off with all these funds and figure it out for themselves. You don't. They will reimburse you. At the very least, your employer might say, once you finish nursing school, give us 2 years of your time. 2 years goes by like that. For real. It really does. Give them the 2 years. And in that 2 years, get as many certifications that will help you to get into whatever department, whether you want to work ER, ICU, CCU, it doesn't matter. Do as many certifications as you can because, of course, if you're working for the hospital on any level, they will pay for every certification that you need. And I wanted to let people know that if they want the money, they can get the money. And if there's even a school that is here in Florida, I'm not sure about right now, but about 8 years ago, they literally were paying for people you could go through their bachelor's program which is a 4-year degree, for free, assuming that you work for them for a while, work at a particular facility for a while, but basically nothing out of pocket. It's amazing to me. It's amazing. What else do I want to touch on? I know a lot of people think that becoming an LPN is licensed practical nurse, for those who are not very familiar with that terminology, is an easy way to do things because it's basically like maybe a year and a half investment as far as college credits. But I would really say no, don't even bother. LPNs, licensed practical nurses, have to be supervised by RNs. Therefore, as an LPN, you can't give certain medications IV, like straight into the IV line. There's so many things that you can't do as an LPN. There's so many restrictions with that license. It's better to just go for at least a 2-year degree and then go back for a bachelor's and a master's. It makes no sense to do an LPN course. That is my opinion. I've had it for over 2 decades. And I'm sticking to that. It's a waste of time, of your time, and it's a waste of money. Just stick it out for one more year, and get at least an associate's degree and continue on from there. Work your plan and plan your work.
So if it's a waste of time, why does it exist? I mean, was there a reason for them to create
because people like to take shortcuts. They like the quick. The quick thing. And maybe there are some people who are sort of intimidated by going on to become a registered nurse. They're intimidated because it's a huge responsibility. Yeah, the doctor writes the orders, but let I tell you, you're there with that patient from anywhere between 10 to maybe 14 hours. Okay? And you are responsible for all the care, for every assessment, and reporting any changes and all of that. But you are literally responsible for that person's life during the time that you have that patient in your care.
You use a word
knowing the medications, knowing the contraindications, knowing side effects. So some people get intimidated by that, but it is not worth your time. The difference in money from an RN, an LPN to RN, is ridiculous. It's ridiculous, especially if you have experience as a registered nurse. The amount of money is in difference in salary.
Category.
It's amazing. And you're not treated in the same manner, and you're restricted in so many ways. You might as well just go ahead and do an RN program. That's how.
How much longer? How much longer you said?
About a year. About a year for an associate, and if you want to, you can start working. You can start working after you even do the after like about a year in school. You can start working as an LPN, but continue and do your RN.
But is there a structured plan for someone entering this field in terms of where they can go, or do most people just go, well, I want to be a nurse, and they just jump in without knowing the necessary steps?
Right. That's what I'm saying, that make sure that you go to a regional accredited school. I've known of people here in Florida since I've been here. I've been here, since 98. There have been more than one school that I've heard of. One is actually just up the street from me, about 2 miles, where it wasn't a regionally accredited school. I think it had national accreditation, didn't meet minimum standards for the Department of Education. The students went through the entire program looking for their certificates, or diplomas, didn't get it. They were, can't curse on the show. They were just out of luck. They didn't get it. The school folded, and they put in the time, and they didn't end up with a degree, with a certificate or diploma. They didn't. And they were just left out there, out in the wind. Hundreds of people. I'm not talking, a small graduating class. So it's really.
So the message here: do not invest your time or money into these little universities that pop up with a brand new name and offering all the bells and whistles. Do your proper research.
Believe me.
Okay, so you do say you have some resources at the end of the show where people can, in fact, find out the proper course or channel that they should take to get into nursing. The interesting part is that listening to you give this information, I realize that it's not just towards nursing. These steps should be applied to almost any field that you choose to get into, because so many people just jump in and then realize it's like, wait a minute, I'm heading up the wrong road here, and then you have to get off track and somehow try to get back on, and you realize that you wasted a full year, and you wasted another year over here, and you end up doing full-time and spending 6 years to complete a 4-year degree, and you end up with some degree in geography and realize that you really like music. So
and realize that scholarship programs are available for any area of specialty. You just have to find it out. They have scholarships books in the library. You don't have to dip in your pocket and go into a store to buy a scholarship book. That's probably outdated by the time it's in your hand. The latest editions are in the library. You can probably find a lot of information online. Not probably. What am I saying? Definitely, you find a lot of information online. I know I stumbled right.
But isn't it mandatory to purchase these thick $400 books?
You don't have to buy anything to apply for these scholarships. You certainly don't have to pay anything when you're sending in your applications or your essays or whatever they require of you. And the requirements are bare minimum. A story about yourself, your life, maybe the country you came from, maybe something that has affected your life so tremendously that you have had to delay your education, and that's why you're entering at age 60, into school. They want to know about you. They want to know that you're serious about, if they give you this money, they want to know that you're serious, that you will maintain certain GPA. But not everything is GPA based.
As you said, GPA, I read somewhere recently where an 80-year-old woman graduated from college. with a
I had a colleague that was
3.69.
62
Hold
when
on.
she was
With a
graduating.
3.69 GPA. Is that good? I'm not
Well,
college
the best you can
educated.
get is 4.0. So 3.69 is quite excellent. Quite
At
excellent.
80.
At
Even
80.
at 48.
The older
This
you
shows
are,
that all dreams can in fact come true if you have the courage to pursue them.
absolutely. The older you are, the more focused you are. Because you're not going to go in there to like chop it up with some friends for the day and waste half a day in school. You're going there knowing that you've lost out on maybe 20 years. I would say lost out maybe sounds so negative, but maybe you were raising a family and you finally, okay, the kids are now in college. Now is my time to go back and pursue what I really wanted to get done. You're so focused when you're older. When you're 40s, 50s, 60s, you're so focused. And it's a beautiful thing.
But like you say, you can't chop it up with friends because not many people like you are in there to begin with.
No. They're there. They're there. But you don't have any time to chop it up. You're trying to get those tests done, get those papers written. You don't have time for that. You really don't. And you're probably still holding on to at least a part-time job trying to get through. Because the bills still have to be paid. Bills still have to be paid.
I wanted to chime in for like the last 10 minutes, but I didn't want to mess up the flow. It was going
sorry.
really nicely. But you had used the word, Karin, where you said some, intimidated. Some people have a intimidation. Mm-hmm. So going back to what Curtis was asking, some people have to overcome that.
Yes. Yes.
However, one of the things I wanted to also suggest before we run away is being focused. Mm. Now, you have to know what road it is you're going to travel before you focus. So there's still some work you have to do on yourself. Absolutely. Because what are you going to focus on? So what some people would do is they call it an aptitude test.
Okay.
That may be a place to start if you just have no idea of what it is that you bring to the benefit of citizens or the benefit of your brother man, or what career are you going to pursue. You do an aptitude test, and that somewhat gives you some kind of direction as to, okay, you seem to be great in art or medicine or research or business, or it sort of gives you a compass. And then now you can focus on that and see what things you can see yourself doing, because that's the other thing.
Is there a structured aptitude test that one can take? I mean, saying it sounds good, but where can someone right now who's, I wouldn't use the term lost, but has no sense of direction as to where they want to go in life, where can someone find such an aptitude test that they can take to at least open up their mind and make them realize that they need to go this way instead of heading that?
Well, the easy answer would be to Google. But it's somewhat in the same neighborhood of doing like a GED. Or doing like a SAT or something. It's somewhat in the same category, and it's one of the reasons why the high schools here in the U.S. they give you a broad subject listing, because a lot of times the student may not have a clue of what they like. So with a wide variety of subject matter, they can basically, based on what happens, they say, I liked this and I like these subjects. And then that can also gear.
And you can also, like if you have a community college or a technical college, you can contact them and say, listen, this is what I have an interest in. Can I come in and talk to someone? They're very open and very welcoming and always looking for more students. So that's that, don't allow that to be any type of obstacle. You can approach any school and say, I just need to get a little guidance. and they'll say, come into the office, whatever particular department, and say, just sit down and talk to someone and see what you're interested in. And you don't have to have all the answers starting. There's so many people that start one way and say, this is not for me. Switch.
What about those that stay on course? But Karin, do you think too many people are preoccupied with creating an image of success, trying to impress others instead of impressing themselves? They just seem to be in love with the idea of going to college instead of laying out that plan and staying the course.
Fearful of the idea. I think they're fearful of the idea. I don't think they're in love with it. I have not.
No, but the ones who seem to go, they begin, but still have no sense of direction that we spoke about.
They have not committed to one area. There's a lack of commitment. There's a fear of committing to one spot. And you don't have to commit right away. You can get those liberal arts courses out of the way. Kill them off. Kill them off.
I would
and then decide what area you want to specialize in.
I would just put a thing here, because I think if people could understand the why, then it would help them disseminate the barrier of them going forward. But those of us from the Black experience, we came up in different religious orders, and these religious orders have us thinking of a home in the sky, right? Or that is the idea. And because many of us have that idea of a home in the sky, we have the attitude of not investing in ourselves to put down some form of a foundation.
Not investing in the material, more in the spiritual.
Right. So, but everyone else is investing in the material.
If you're here for 7-8 decades, you got to invest in a little material so that
that's what I'm saying. But I just wanted, because that's really the why of the why people are either intimidated or why they don't want to invest in themselves and say, you know what, let me put this down for my generations, or I'm creating some legacy for the kids for my seed down the road. If you believe totally that there's a home in the sky, I mean, some of us do, why would you put down roots here? You see what I'm saying? So there's a disconnect in terms of the psyche here, and we have to, instead of looking at it like that, there's also another passage that says occupy until. So if you're going to occupy until, then what you have to do is put roots and invest. And the other issue is this: some people believe that when they do a degree or they do a program, it means that it has to go towards someone else's business. We have to start working in such a way that when we go and do a degree program and we get certified, we can invest in ourselves. And once you could invest in yourself, then the generations following, you'll take it from A to B, and then the kids coming after you could take it from B to C, and then as a people, we will start seeing some form of wealth.
I completely understand you when you speak about the religious part of things, but there's another component, the family in which you're growing. If you're not in that nurturing environment, oh boy, it's an uphill battle trying to get some of this stuff done. I'm serious. I'm very serious.
Going back to
fighting you down.
Denise mentioned it there about investing in your own business. We see so many people, they go to it's too many for me to call out. You go to school and you study to be a chiropractor, but most people come out with the mentality of going to get a job as a chiropractor. How many people go into the field with the idea of coming out and starting
their own
chiropractic practice, so to speak? How many people go to school, come out with a degree, and think about starting a business, doing whatever it is they just studied? We have this workers' mentality that it's all about going to school, getting a good job, and saving some money in the bank. We spoke about that before. I think that it's a mindset that somehow has to be, well, not everyone wants to do a business. Some people are more contented making that 60, 80, 120, how much ever it is per year, and they set a course for their life based on that salary and that salary cap, whatever that may be, and that may be good for them. I'm not knocking that. But far too many of us, and when I say us, I mean us as a people, we have that workers' mentality where we go to school and we come out only to go find a job. So I agree with you, Sam, that many of us need to have that business sense coming out of school and build our own, setting up, planting those roots and setting up that legacy. Because at the end of the day, you cannot pass a job on to a child. You can leave a business, but you can't pass on a job.
Well, and also remember that the people who build these businesses didn't have you in mind. They had their children in mind.
Well, so they did have you in mind to come and work for them.
Well, yeah,
yeah.
You're the hired help, but then that takes you only so far, right? Unless you just want to get a pension. But if you are really serious about taking that thing where it needs to go, there's a movie that I saw that had a little bit of interesting analogy to it, and is the Avengers. And Thor fell out with his father, and the father took the hammer and said, "You're not worthy to have this hammer." And he flings the hammer, and the hammer goes all the way to Earth. He has to come to Earth and find the hammer. But anyway, later on, the hammer is destroyed, and he has to talk to the father again. And the father says, "You think you need the hammer? You don't need the hammer." The hammer was
Thor. I remember the line.
Yeah. And he said the hammer was just for you to focus your strength. He said, but really and truly, you don't need the hammer. And a lot of times we all feel I need this, and I need that, and I need, and I need, and I need, and I need. And these little things that you might have seen other people put together, it might have been a little carrot they needed to get to the end of the course. Or you put little goals or short goals to help you focus to get to the end. And really that's what the hammer was for Thor. But he was so focused on the little goals to get to the end that he specialized in that, opposed to realizing, well, why were these little goals created? It was for you to get to the end. And so in so doing, we have to really use our mind in that kind of direction. So then when you find out, okay, you know what, I'm pursuing medicine. Is it a doctor I'm going to be? Is it a nurse I'm going to be? Do I like radiology? Am I into, am I into the eyes? Is it, am I going to be a dentist? What area are we doing? Am I going to be a surgeon? Because there's so many areas that you can fill in the medical field. So if it's the medical field you're going for, or you're going into business, do you have what it takes to do business? You have to be kind of cold-hearted in some aspects to do business. Business is not for the faint of heart. And, is that part of who you are? So once you figure out your direction, then, you can either create little hammers to get you to the end, or, you focus and realize, okay, this is where I got to go, and make the provision to get to that point. So that's what folks have to be prepared to do if they're serious about it.
Yeah, the question was, are you the God? Are you the God of hammers, or are you the God of thunder? Focus on the bigger picture where your true strength lies, and not in the vehicle that you use or the prop that you use to display your strength. But Sam, so many of us, we learn and we talk about passion. pursuing your passion
Mm-hmm.
and staying the course for that. What about our natural gifts? How do we turn passion into profit? How do we turn our natural gifts into profit? Because so many people move away from there's a difference here. Some people move away from the gift to pursue their passion, and then they have a gift here that can really, where you can hold down a 9 to 5 and make the money to feed the passion. But so many people give up the gift chasing the passion and never succeed.
Always bring you money. Passion doesn't always bring you money. So I think that's, the wrong way to think that passion. Passion doesn't always bring money. It does bring a level of satisfaction, though, that is beautiful, but it doesn't always bring money.
Passion is part of the equation, because you could be passionate about something, but it's not necessarily your gift.
Mm-hmm.
But it's part of the equation that if you were going to do a particular thing, then you need 1 part salt, 1 part sugar, 1 part this.
Boy, I tell you,
they work. And so passion is part of that. In fact, I think what's the name of the guy who wrote Rich Dad Poor Dad?
Robert Kiyosaki.
Right. So I think he said passion is the will mixed with anger or something to that degree. And anger not necessarily in a negative way, but it's sort of like a drive that you push yourself and the will to push yourself to get, for whatever that thing is, Now, in terms of your question to turning your gift into where it can actually help.
Well, the question was passion, turning the passion into profit, because, like I said, so many of us focus on the passion and we leave the gift standing one side. But we all know if we work on the gift, that will provide for you. But how do you turn that passion into profit? And not so 1 second. So many times we hear these words, starving artists, and that's a term I don't use at all. Or he's a starving artist, or he's a starving musician or out of work musician. Mm-hmm. How do we turn that passion and make it profitable for us?
Okay, so we have to start with the word, and the word is to speak positivity and to speak blessing over it, and we need to do that over our children. Growing up, a lot of our parents didn't bless us with positivity. Why you stupid so? I talk to you so and so time. You stupid, huh? You think your head hard, and what our parents didn't realize is that once they said the word,
became reality.
They planted a seed, and when you plant the seed, it have to bear. So we had to start with the word and say we bless the children. The other thing is that we have to provide an environment, because people who are gifted go against the grain, whatever field it is. And going against the grain means whatever economy system we have set up that we live by. We call it the plantation. Or, you had to jump on the train 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning in New York because you have a job in the Bronx or you have a job in the city and you're in the workforce, right? Creative people don't really fit into that system.
They don't fit any mold.
So if you have family that can recognize that you're gifted, or you recognize that someone in your family is gifted. Now, I remember Irv Gotti from Murder Inc. talking about, was it him or his brother? I think it might have been the brother who realized that Irv he's gifted, he's talented. And so now the brother stood in the gap for Irv. and sort of help to create an environment that Irv could blossom into the producer and the entrepreneur that he is today. I've worked with recording with people in the studio. The people who do very well are the folks that have support from the family. Now, the people who may not have support from the family, they would probably still do well, or they have the gift, and it's
just
the
a
gift
harder road to travel.
The gift is stronger, but
it's a harder road to travel.
It's a harder road, and they have to fight really a lot more to get there. But if there's an environment, to support that person or persons in that family, 9 times out of 10, they'll be successful.
I agree. When you recognize that a child is gifted or you recognize that they're passionate towards something, if you're not supporting them, that you are doing all wrong. That is all wrong. You've got to help them to see just how far they can get. You've got to get them started in something, whether it's something with music or it's math or it's a sport. You've got to help them out. At least help them to explore it, And if it's going to take money out of your pocket, figure out some other way to get it done. It's doable. It definitely
Well, again, it comes back to us investing in ourselves, So when you see a parent taking, Will Smith has this movie coming out with the Serena and Venus movie, King Richard. Not only he believed that his daughters would do well, I think there's a part in the movie where before they were born, he wrote down all the stuff they was going to do. I mean, that is amazing. And he knew that Serena was going to be the poster child, but Serena needed Venus, and I don't say it in a negative way. It wasn't about competition, but it was about, okay, how do we prepare the way so that these two sisters could also inspire everyone else.
What is beautiful about those particular sisters, as you said, they are not competitive. They've been so highly supportive of each other's careers from way back, way back. And I love that. If you can teach children to be supportive of each other as siblings, and not judge, constantly compare. If you don't compare them, they shouldn't be constantly comparing them, each other.
I learned my lesson with that. I don't compare them at all.
Right, because they each have their own gifts. They each have their own.
And I speak
nature,
positivity over them. Even if I'm upset, I may explain why I'm upset, but I'm not going to pass a word on it and say you're this or you're that, or unless it's something good that
I do scold.
Benefit them.
I do scold, but I say you can do better.
Well, I mean,
I know you're better than this.
We all have our own way that we'll, I mean, it's a different strategy, but it's to come to the same conclusion. So yeah, it's once we could again. The word is serious, man. It's such a serious thing, because you have people who doubt themselves, and they've been doubting themselves for years. And you know what? The amount of seeds that they plant doubting themselves that have to materialize.
Yeah, they say the mind doesn't really know whether you're joking when you speak these negative things about yourself. It just believes whatever it is you tell it. So you need to stop even cracking jokes, negative stuff, saying negative stuff about yourself, because you're empowering it. You're empowering your own life with the stimuli that you're giving the brain.
Yes.
Even if it's negative, the brain doesn't know whether you're joking or not. It just takes what you tell it and put it into action, and then soon you'll begin to see the fruits that start bearing from what it is you've been putting in the soil.
Yeah, so we have to start believing in it. Now, I don't know if we're seeing the chat at some point. We need to recognize the chat comments, because they have some real. I'm seeing some good pointers.
Carol Knight said that some of the older generation weren't aware that they were harming their children. The people perish for lack of knowledge.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
Guilty. Right here. I suffered a lot. I suffered a lot. I also flourished a lot under the care of my grandmother. And Sam spoke something a minute ago that made me think about this. One of the things she always said, no, it wasn't just her. Growing up all the time, I kept hearing, "You're just like your damn father."
Oh, wow.
And Dad was always in front of it.
You look just like your damn father.
And Dad was always in front of it.
And Dad was always in front of it.
Wow.
So why would I want to look like a man that was damned by everybody who spoke about him? That's not something I held in high esteem. Why would I want to become like a man who's damned? And everything was always said in a negative light. Or you look just like you look just like your father. And it wasn't well into the millennium here where I saw a younger picture of the man, and he was a handsome-looking gentleman. Very handsome-looking gentleman. So if while I was growing up, you all were telling me I looked like him, it didn't make me feel good. So the beauty never came out because inside I felt ugly. You and them eyes come in front of me with them two eyes looking just like your father. Them two big eyes you have there, and I always felt that my eyes were bulging outside my head like this. That's how I felt, as if my eyes were almost sitting outside like a goldfish.
Wow.
That's how I felt.
Wow.
And when I look back at pictures of my younger self, I say, you wasn't a bad looking fellow. If only I knew that then. Good God Almighty!
It would have probably helped you make different choices too.
Better decisions in life.
Yes.
But maybe head wouldn't fit through standardized doorways.
Well, even I had to grow beyond that. I had to go beyond that negativity that was planted and speak life into myself. I had to do that. I had to mask what was going on internally. I had to mask that and bring something else, bring more positivity to the surface. But it was turmoil on the inside based on speaking life, what Sam was saying, the life that they spoke into me. Because going back to the topic of discussion, don't think that we off from that. It's about planning your work and working your plan. No one laid out a plan for what they wanted me to become. No one laid out a plan or saw what I was good at and say, well, let me lead him down this road. No one do that. You just left to grow like a weed in the garden.
But we have to give the benefit of the doubt. I have to agree with what was said before that. They didn't realize some of the damage they were doing. And a lot of our, say, from the grandmothers and grandfathers and so forth, they didn't know better. Plain and straight. They just didn't know. And they certainly didn't know any step-by-step way to do things. That's why I don't look back with like anger or resentment. It just was what it was. And I tried.
We definitely not angry about it.
A lot of them didn't know.
I think once we understand the why, then we can change and break that cycle.
Right.
And impart that on the next generation, not just our kids,
I'm willing
but
to help
even the younger children and those coming up, and you could just bless them as you go.
Yeah, I'm willing to help anyone. And I have I remember someone said to me she was going through a program, and at the time couldn't afford the books, and I made all the suggestions that I've made tonight. But I mean, I took up all my books, which were, certainly not current, but they certainly were pertinent. The information was still pertinent, and just handed her a whole series of books. That would have been probably near a grand if I really tallied it up, because books are expensive as heck. But and I thought nothing of that, because I wasn't going to use them anymore. Why let them just rot? Rot away on the shelf. So
But
you have to
tell
be
us
willing also to pay it forward. I'm sorry, dear.
now. I was asking how do you make something work for you? Whether you're out there in that workforce or more geared towards Sam as an entrepreneur.
Mm-hmm.
How do you make something work for you so much that it doesn't matter if you're at work or if you're on vacation,
Mm-hmm.
you're still getting paid? We caught up in the 9-to-5 mentality that we go to work, we get paid. If we don't go to work,
you're out of luck.
We don't get paid. We don't get no money unless
we're
physically there. How do we make something work for us that it doesn't? I can't remember exactly quote it, but I have something written. I said, it's an affirmation. I said, I am making so much money when I'm asleep that I can't even spend when I'm awake. How do we make something work for us even when we're sleeping or we're on vacation, that we don't necessarily have to show up and punch a card to make that money?
We have to. So keep it. Okay, if it's geared to me, remember that I am totally going against the grain. So one of the things I could say in the beginning is that turn the L's that you consider a loss, turn it into lessons.
I like that.
And as you go towards your goal, whatever that is, as an entrepreneur, you have to invest in yourself. So I'll use myself as an example. I remember at one point I used to get bootleg cassettes. I didn't understand what bootlegging was. But I would go to the record store, and the guy in the store would run the records off and sell you the cassette. You could tell him what songs you want. You did buy it, but it wasn't the real thing. And then, I relocate to the States, and then I'm seeing people selling stuff on the street, and I'm thinking it's the legit thing. But it was bootleg. And then my mentor said, well, this is the bootleg you bought. I didn't know what bootleg was. And he explained what it is. He said, well, this is not the real thing. He said, when you buy this, the artist isn't getting the money. He said, you need to go to the actual store and pick up that copy. So then I had to learn that movement there, because he said, if you want to make money while you're in the business, you can't, that's not a way to start. I didn't really get it right away, because I said, well, I still paid for it. It's not like I get it for free. But the whole his point was the action of purchasing this thing. It goes, because that money you're taking, it's blessing a different situation. Someone who was dishonest is where the money is going to go. That was the motivation, that they took someone's intellectual property, copied it, ran out in the street, and they're selling it. And now that's a different energy. And that's not the energy you want accompanying you. So that was a lesson to learn. Now, I did a book, and there's a lot of independent artists that I know that when there's a free discussion online that I'm probably going to appear everyone, you're going to have like 200-300 people in attendance for the free presentation. And the book is under $10 online. You can get the ebook, or you could purchase the book with shipping and it's $20. And some people don't know, well, all right, I could invest $20 in myself. Let me get this book to do that. The action of making that purchase is foreign to them, right? I had someone one time, they wanted to do some video editing, and I told them about a software that it wasn't even $80. It was a reasonable price. It wasn't one of the best programs, but for what they wanted to do, I said, no, buy the program. And they're like, well, I don't want to pay that amount of money, and I'm just going to use it 1 or 2 times. And I couldn't respond, but my point is, okay, if you want to get into editing some video, there's a very good chance that the way how life is going, you will want to edit some more in the future. Why not buy the software so you have it? So whenever you need it, you pull it up in your computer and you edit your video.
So, why do I feel like you're talking to me? I think you and I had that same conversation.
We had that conversation already?
We had that same conversation because some years ago, when I started designing my own T-shirts, I found out that the program I need to, somebody said Photoshop. I knew nothing about Photoshop, so what I decided to teach myself Photoshop. Mm-hmm. And I learned Photoshop, and then I didn't own Photoshop. So, and then I was talking to you about it, and you say, well, partner, here we go now. You have to right now, you have to buy the thing, because it's no longer accessible in the store where you go and you pick up the thing and you put it on the computer. Now everything is in the cloud, and you have to pay a subscription. I was reluctant. I was reluctant to do that for a while, and exactly what you were saying there, you had that same conversation with me.
Oh, well, no, I wasn't talking about you in this case, but I remember that.
And eventually I went and I rented. I can't say you bought it because you don't really own Jack.
It's a subscription.
Yeah.
It's a subscription.
The minute you don't renew that subscription, they cut you off. So since I was using Photoshop on a continuous basis, I listened to what you said and I went and I subscribed, not just for a month, but for the entire year. Mm-hmm. And I bought that subscription, and you'll be surprised how many things I do on Photoshop on a regular basis. So if you had to talk about me, at least say you now. Don't talk about me like I'm not in the room.
Read Denise's last 3 comments to me, please.
This was somebody else, but I do remember our conversation. Her last 3 comments.
About investments, yes. Okay.
We have to look at investments, correct? You have to sit down and write out a plan and stick to it.
Let me talk before we get to the next one. We talk. Denise said you have to you have to sit down, write out a plan, and stick to it. Many of us, self included, have this what I call get-to-itiveness. We have that. We get to it. Right? That's easy. Mm-hmm. But we don't have what I call stick-to-itiveness. We get to it and we don't stick to it. Many of us lay out that plan. We want to be built like Arnold, and I'm going to join the gym, and you sign up for the gym, and you put up the picture on the wall, and you buy the weights, and you do all of that, but then you don't go to sleep on time. You don't have the proper nutrition, so you're tired all the time, and you don't stick to the exercise routine that you're supposed. So now you're supposed to get these results in 30 days. 60 days down the road, you're not even halfway there because we're not sticking to the plan. So what Denise is saying, write your plan out. Step 1, 2, 3, 4. And there may be subdivisions in step 1, subdivisions in step 2. Mm-hmm. Step 1 might have A and B. Step 2 might have A, B, C, D. And you stick to the plan. And that is the only way we're going to see results at the ending of the day. Get-to-itiveness and stick-to-itiveness.
That's right.
So thank you so much, Denise, for that comment.
And she said, don't mind if somebody bootleg your music in a song because you can't get upset.
Yeah, that's Carol Knight. Carol Knight, good night. Welcome to the show. Denise also said that we need to revise the plan, but you have to continue until you reach your goal and not be sidetracked. It's okay. Well, most of us tend to say, well, this is what I want. This is my plan. And we draw a straight line towards that goal. And most of us here can attest to this. It's
a lot of things get in the way, yo.
It's up and down, wrong, come back around, start over.
Don't quit.
Correct.
Start over, fire some people along the way, stop talking to a few, get it.
It's rough.
Yeah, the point is about sticking to it, no matter what obstacles you may encounter. And then when you get there, some people look at you and they say, look at him, overnight success.
30 years in the making.
Yeah, my overnight success took many years.
To answer Carol, I have been bootlegged heavily. Okay, yes. So I have been paying for my sins.
But that was my next question I wanted to ask. But let me ask the question anyway. Are too many of us getting caught up in talking about our dreams as opposed to laying out a plan? You hear a lot of big talk outside. Are we getting too caught up in talking about it as opposed to laying out the plans and doing it?
I'm a little bit in the middle road to that, because I think for some people, if they talk about it long enough, is a way to get them going. But you do have those who talk and it's 20 years and they're still talking. So there's a little thin line between, because I am someone, I may talk about an idea I have, but what pushes me to get going is if I am tired hearing myself say that I want to do this, so I'm planning to do that. So then I like, okay, I don't want to have to keep saying that, so then I get into action. But you do have folks who, I want to write a book, or I want to do this class, or I want to do this course. And 5 years later, he says, so how the course went? I didn't do the course yet. I really want to do that course. And then another 5 years pass and you didn't do the course yet.
I want to tag in on that a little bit. I think it's really important. What I've seen in the last couple of years, it's really important to get a mentor. It could be 1 to 3 people.
Good point. Very, very good.
Get a mentor, somebody who's really looking out for you and offers good, solid advice. Excellent. Maybe he's in the industry you're trying to get into. But if you have too many people that you're listening to, even if they're specialists in that same area, the voices really get in the way. I've experienced that. 1 to 3 people, I think, is a good number, between 1 and 3. More than that, it's just too many voices in your head one saying this, do that, do that, and you're all over the damn place, feeling, confused.
You're
good.
You get one really, but the other 2 is just to get another opinion.
Right.
So it gives you that roundness. Right. But the good thing about what you're just saying is that they have the experience.
Right.
They walk the road, they know the corners, they're the broom. They're not the new broom, but they're the old broom that know the corners. They can and tell you, look out for this, look out for that.
Don't do that.
For the other. and it's good. That's a really, really good point you brought there. So
I read somewhere
consult.
I read somewhere where it said that being a failure in life is hard. Being successful is hard. So at the end of the day, you have to choose your hard, because one way or the other, life is going to be hard. So choose your hard, which ever hard you want to choose, but anyhow you take it, it's going to be hard. So it's up to you at the end of the day, because you try to ride the middle ground, and it's not easy. being there. You're somewhere in between failure and success. I also, a new term I'm hearing going around now where somebody said one source of income is too close to none.
Okay, that's a good one.
Having one source of income is too close to none. So you have to push towards getting multiple streams, as they call it, because in these dire times we're living in, look at what happened with this whole COVID situation. Businesses closed down, people get laid off, no job to go back to. What are we going to do without a solid plan? What are we going to do if we do not lay some serious bricks down, build that foundation, set up some concrete plans, and stick to it in order to achieve the things we want in life? Where are we going to be?
Well, what we could do is ask the people who actually planning things if they could share the plan with us, so we could just know what it is coming down the pikes. You know, hey, share.
They don't share very well. They don't share until they're ready to. They don't share well.
So how do we had to tap into whatever it is they're talking about?
Personally, someone said, who was it? Was it Miss Williams said she has a journal that she writes her plans and stuff down in. I'm not one for writing down plans so much, but one of the things I realize, I understand the importance of it. I just don't do it. And that's what I was speaking about earlier on in the show, in the introduction, where I said, we hear all of this advice from those that know, from those that teach. We get the motivation, but we do not execute. Personally, I have a strategy for accomplishing tasks, especially when my back is against the wall. I treat, let's say, the days leading up to a deadline, like if it's the last day before vacation. Before you go on vacation, look at how many things you get accomplished. Before you have to hop on a plane and leave to go out to the country, look at how many things you get accomplished.
Plenty.
Personally, I make a list of all the critically important things that I have to accomplish, and I get up and I strike them off one after the other in order of importance. Because if you have to go away for 2 weeks and you know your light bill is due with a disconnection notice next week, you think you're going to find time to pay that bill before you leave? Yeah, because you know when you come back, all your food is going to be spoiled. You'll have flies and worms inside the refrigerator. You have to clean that mess, get the smell out of your apartment, and then go spend money again to go shopping for new groceries. So you know what you're going to do? You're going to pay that light bill before you leave. You will find the money, and you will find the time to get it done. If you have that outfit in the cleaners, and you know you need that in your suitcase, you can get it out that day before vacation. Why? It's important to you. And a lot of the things that we deem important, they're not really important to us. That's why we don't do them. They're not important enough. They're not important enough. And that's where we have to write down those things that are important. Get rid of the tasks, not the tasks, but those goals, as we may call them, or some of those things that are unimportant in life. Get rid of those things out of your schedule. Focus on the important things. Write them down and chip away at them one at a time, piece at a time, one at a time, until we accomplish them. Make a new list. This is what we need to do. Treating every day, every single day, like it's that last day before vacation. Watch and see how many things you knock off your list. Watch and see how many goals you accomplish by writing things down and taking care of them in the matter of importance in your life.
Yeah. Cool. I know this with myself. I don't know if this works for other people, but for me, when I write stuff down, it's actually the reinforcing action there. So when I write it down, I don't really even need to read it after. Because when you write it, it's sort of like a affirmation as you're writing. You put the list down. Unless you're going through a list that you need to scratch off to remember, oh, I need to do this, that, and the other. I'm not talking about that type of a list, but I'm talking about like for goals. Sometimes even when I do interviews, if I'm interviewing someone, I'll write the questions out. And while I'm doing the interview, I don't even have to look at the paper to say, well, what else I was planning to ask you. But just the fact that I wrote it out, it was a reinforcement, and I internalize it. So if you guys could try that out and see if it works for you. All our minds and systems works. It works differently in different situations.
Someone spoke also about setting deadlines. I think it was Denise spoke about setting deadlines, not just setting a goal, but setting a deadline to accomplish that goal. And one of my inspiration, a young brother that I listen to quite often on social media, a brother by the name of Nehemiah Davis. I'm saying it and I'll repeat it so that you all can look at this brother, Nehemiah Davis, or Neo Daviso.
I'm seeing him. I was just saying I'm seeing him all over social media right now, but I think
Neo Daviso, Neodaviso, or his real name Nehemiah Davis. Listen to that young brother there. The brother spoke about accomplishing something in the next 7 days. Just launch it. Whatever it is, launch it. 7 days. Give yourself 7 days. Write out what it is you need to do. Accomplish this particular task in 7 days. Start a business in 7 days. Now, mind you, I was struggling for some time, beating against walls that I put up to launch my t-shirt company. I had to get the right graphics. I had to get the right graphic artists. I had to learn Photoshop. I had to investigate the right t-shirt, the right colors, the right this, having the right amount of money, having all of these things. And years went by without me launching the company, because all I'm doing is trying to get everything correct, everything just right, how it's supposed to be. After listening to Brother Neo challenging me to do this thing in 7 days, I said, you know what, I'm gonna take up this task. And I have to admit, I didn't do it in 7 days. I did it in 10. So what? So what? It took 3 more days. And Excel Apparel was born. It's online. Right now on Spreadshirt.com, Excel Apparel. Look it up. Beautiful designs, beautiful t-shirts. After waiting for so many years, and had I not followed Neo Daviso's plan, I probably would have still been here planning, strategizing, waiting, like double Dutch. I'm waiting to jump in, and that's what I did for years. So sometimes we have to just jump in, make a plan, jump in, and understand that you're not going to get it right. You all remember when we started feedback? You remember some of the technical difficulties we had?
A lot of feedback.
A lot of feedback on feedback. Had we waited to get all of those kinks ironed out, we probably would have still been trying to perfect the show before we launched the show. Correct. In the beginning, I was worried. I was very apprehensive about putting the product out without editing it. Let's take out these blunders. Let's take out the moment where I messed up and such and such. No. Put it out. Our first shows were our worst shows. Right? Now here we are at episode what?
70.
Episode number 70.
Right.
Clap it up. Let me see some claps in the chat. Let me see some cheers in the chat. Show us some love. Return the love. Return the energy. Come on, give us some congratulations. Give us some congratulations. Let us get some. Yes. Make a toast. How Coffee say? Bust a toast for the friend. We'll take off heavy load. That's right. Everybody with a silver cup this evening. Big up. This wasn't planned. This wasn't planned. The toast wasn't planned. The silver cup wasn't planned. But like Trinigel said, we worked out the kinks as we were going along. And we are 70 episodes deep, and we're still going. That's right. It just shows that slow progress is better than no progress at all. Thank you, Carol, for that. Once you're moving in the right direction, any step is better than no step at all. So we just have to keep going, keep doing what we're doing. So So many of us, self-included. Let me take a line. You mentioned King Richard a few minutes ago, right? You mentioned Venus and Serena's dad.
Mm-hmm.
In the movie, there's a line from Will. He said to his daughters, I can't remember to which one or if he said it to both of them. He said, we or you have dreams that can shake up this world.
Mm.
So many of us, self-included, have dreams that can shake up this world.
Mm.
But guess what? We fail to execute. In closing, tell us what is that one thing that we can do to make all other things come together for us? What is that one thing that we can do to make all the other things come together for us? People in the chat, I want you to answer this for us also. Put in your comment on this. That one thing we can do to make all the other things come together to execute those dreams that could shake up the world. Karin?
Trust your instincts. Trust that you know what is best for you. Trust your instincts. You can keep wishing and wanting and waiting, or you can plan your work and work your plan. Trust your instincts.
Short and sweet.
Sweet and short, man.
Mr. Archer.
You know, there was a gentleman on my job, one of the jobs I had ages ago. I think he was a priestly type of a guy. And he always used to say, every time we sit down to talk, he would say, to thine own self, be true. And I think that is a good starting point of once you're about to start the journey, or you need a refresher on the journey, because sometimes, as I was telling someone in a recent interview, that I had at one point I lost my why. What was the reason why I got into what I'm doing? And sometimes we need a refresher to just remember, who we are and what the plan is, what the purpose is, what the mission is. So once you remember, if you're true to yourself, it's a really good starting point to think about that and to couple it with strategy. Strategy is another element of the equation that we need to implement as we move forward. What is the strategy? How are we going to do this? So for you to create your strategy, you have to do research. You have to research the playing field, whatever that field is. I remember some years ago, my family in New York, they started a nursing agency. Because they were nurses for years, and they started this agency, and then they realized that they had to compete with a lot of the other ethnic groups that had agencies who hired them, and realized that these other groups had the monopoly on getting people jobs, and I don't know how they're doing now. I think they probably burn some oil to get to the point where it's somewhat bringing some sort of revenue, but they should have been able to study the playing field and realize that certain agencies would have the monopoly. So what will be the strategy for us? Because you see the money that the agencies make, but if they own the monopoly, how do you work around that? Do you, because you want to get the hospital contract. So do you go for the hospitals? Or maybe you try to get the hospice? Or maybe a smaller thing? Or maybe you might have to work out of state and try not to work where the prize stuff is, where it's prime time. You're not ready for prime time yet. You're now stepping in the game. So you got to look where what the people I have, where can I get them employed? And that is that's where strategy comes in. And then focus. Focus is an important thing, that you miss the focus, you could lose out a lot. So that will be my pointers. So to thine own self be true. Then you have your strategy, and then you focus. And I think that will put everyone, or even or people in the chat tonight.
Miss Williams said, "Believe in ourselves and take that first step. The hardest part of getting ahead is getting started." Carol Knight said, "Walk your talk without giving up. Keep grinding and stay focused." There's that word again. Focus. Also remember to ask the right people for help. No man is an island. No one stands alone. Never be too afraid or too ashamed to ask for help. Trini Girl says, like Nike. What she said? Just do it.
That's what's up.
Just do it. For me, being a victim of this, I would say work in silence.
Oh, yes.
Work in silence.
That's what's up.
Let people see the results. Stop talking about your plans and what you want to do and what you intend to do and what you're going to do. Work stealth in silence. Because not everyone who listening to your plans cheering for you.
Mercy.
Understand that.
Mercy, mercy.
I'd like to encourage you, everyone within the sound of my voice, whether you're hearing this live, you're hearing it on the replay, I'd like to encourage each and every one of you to stop doubting yourself. Stop doubting yourself and just start doing. Like Carol said, just start doing. Begin the process. Get up. Take some actions. Make the rest of your life be the best of your life. Remember that today, this day, whenever you're hearing this, today is the youngest you will ever be. Again. And today is the oldest that you ever were. Make the rest of your life the best of your life. You have time. You still have time. Remember who you are. Remember what is important to you. Find your why. Find your why and fly. Remember your dreams. And understand this. Your dream is just that. Your dream. And don't think for a minute that anyone else will be as excited as you are to see your dreams manifested. No one. These are your dreams. Like we said, plan your work, work your plan. It is incumbent upon you to make your dreams become a reality. That's nobody else's task. Your dreams, your responsibility. Take a risk. Take a risk. Take some risk in life, because risking is better than regretting. Just do it. Peace and blessings.
Bless.
Hi, I'm Dr. Judith Barnes. I'm an author, a playwright, poet. I'm also a broadcaster by training, and I recently found out about 2 years ago that I can paint paintings, which means I paint sceneries, I paint landscape, I paint animals. I have just discovered, and so that I can do this. And so along with all the other gifts and talents that I've been blessed with, I have paintings, and they are on view and for sale on Etsy and also on Facebook. And if you desire to order any painting or order one of my books, because I'm also an author, please give me a call at 470-564-8267. That's Dr. Judith, and the number again, whether you want to just talk to me or order one of my paintings or one of my books, please feel free to call 470-564-8267. Thank you.
Hello there and welcome. My name is Curtis Henry. Over the past few weeks, as we were putting the final pieces together to get the show on the road, some people asked, why do you need to showcase Caribbean people? Why Caribbean Chat? And I say, why not? Because we as Caribbean people have worked too hard, come too far, and suffered too long for us to continue taking a backseat. It's time for us to rise up, speak out, and show the world the value and the richness of our culture. So I'm providing a platform to showcase the history and culture of Caribbean people in entertainment, the arts, politics, sports, and economics. We will explore the many profound contributions they have made to society. So we invite you to stay with us as we launch what is to become one of the greatest voices of Caribbean people, for Caribbean people, by Caribbean people. On this platform, Caribbean people of excellence get to tell their story. Our aim is to ensure that your contributions are acknowledged and celebrated. Welcome to Caribbean Chat. So make sure you like us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram, and be sure to hit that subscribe button on YouTube. We are Caribbean Chat.